Guys, welcome back to DBS, you undead hollows. Where to begin? Alright, well, in the last couple of days, we have been, again, rewarded with some footage of Dark Souls 3 in a final build, which many media outlets and people from the Souls community have been invited to go. Um, there is a spoiler warning, guys. If you don't want to know what's going on, please stop here. We're going to talk about the starting gifts that have been shown and have a quick discussion about them. So yeah, the spoilers start now, so turn back if you don't want to listen. Alright, so we've been shown the starting classes, the first three areas of the game, a lot of NPCs and spoilers and items and all of that, and the character creation screen. But today I just want to quickly discuss the starting gifts. Now, as you all know, in Dark Souls 1 and Dark Souls 2, after you chose your class, you were given an option to choose some starting gifts that you can use on your journey. Um, Usually they weren't really that helpful. In Dark Souls 1, however, the most useful item was the Master Key because it allowed you to access certain areas in the game earlier, and it was very good for speedrunning and just doing things faster, like getting new, better items quicker. And if you want a sequence break, you want to go to Quelaag first instead of the gargoyles. That was up to you. Dark Souls 2, not so much. And the Dark Souls 3 ones, which have been called burial gifts because lore spoilers. You're an unkindled warrior, undead, who was buried and has been revived due from the bells that have been rung from the dying of the first flame, and then you have to get up and you call them unkindled, blah blah blah. So basically, you were already buried in the ground, and you rise from your grave to on your undead pilgrimage again. And the burial gifts are what you start with if you choose. Of course, there is an option to not choose a gift at all. Now, let's go one by one through them. Life Ring basically gives you a bit of HP. Divine Blessing cures HP and all status ailments. The Hidden Blessing, which fully restores your FP, which is the focus points and or your mana. Black Fire Bomb, we already know this. Fire Gem, okay, this is where it gets interesting. Fire Gem is an item to infuse in your weapon to give it fire properties. The Sovereignless Soul is basically you gain a large amount of souls. We don't know how much because I haven't seen any footage from that. The Rusted Gold Coin increases your luck and item discovery for a short while. The Cracked Red Eye Orb returns, gives you 1 invasion. And the Young White Branch, which you can see here is a branch of a young white birch. It allows you to blend into the environment, but only once. By the way, this has been screenshotted from Ouroboros the Ninja's YouTube video on his coverage of the Dark Souls 3 event and his highlights, which I will mention in the description. So just really quickly here, on the first look, again, it seems that these starting gifts are not that great. There's nothing really game-breaking, there's nothing like really useful in here. I'm not trying to be an elitist or anything, but as someone who's been playing the Souls series since Demon's Souls launch day, and subsequently every other one since, with hundreds of hours of PvE and PvP, the only useful item I see from here for me would be the Sovereignless Soul, and that's because depending on how much it gives you, like let's say it gives you 5,000 souls, which again I don't know how much, I was not shown any footage of that, but let's say it gives you 5,000 souls. In the very beginning of the game, that could be probably 4 to 5, maybe even 6 levels, which pretty early on in the game is very useful. Life Ring, when we know from Dark Souls 1 that it only gave you a very minor boost of HP, which really didn't make any difference. Divine Blessing, you can just use that once and that's it. Like it really won't save your It might save you like an early boss or something, but I don't see it personally something that I would use. I don't even remember using Divine Blessings in either DS1 or DS2. Well, maybe in Dark Souls 2 when in the DLC I was like a new game +2 and it was just getting ridiculous. Hidden Blessing increases your FP. Again, you have an Ash Estus Flask to do that if you want to. I might see it for spellcasters if they really like chugging on Ash Estus and they're in the heat of battle in a boss fight and they're running out of Estus Flasks. Okay, maybe. But just to restore your FP, well, you just can reset the bonfire and you get your FP back. So I don't see this as useful. The Fire Gem, to infuse it into fire. We've seen videos of people do that. While it is an interesting option to have something like, for example, in Demon Souls, if you could start in the world 2-1 and I forgot the name of it. In the caverns. Can't believe I forgot the name. Okay, the name just it's not even the Stonefang Tunnel. That's what it is. Stonefang Tunnel. There was a dragon longsword there, and that was a very good early weapon because dragon weapons at low levels was very OP. And then in Dark Souls 2, you were able to find the fire longsword as well in the Forest of the Forgotten Giants. So it might be an interesting option is that you can start the game quickly with a fire weapon. But honestly, knowing that longswords in general, like in the late game, we're talking later on, even though a longsword can take you in Dark Souls 1 and Demon Souls and Bloodborne, you can take the cleaver all the way to like mid game +7 and still win. But I believe that fire gems or fire scaling, first there's no fire scaling. It removes all scaling completely, going back to the Dark Souls and Demon Souls way. And the second of all, in the end, like by the 4th boss or 5th boss, they probably all have high resistance to fire. Or just imagine you went with this weapon going into, for example, Quelaag, who's almost immune to fire, and your weapon would be useless. So I don't think this is a very good infusion for me in the beginning. I usually go pure strength and or quality, so I don't want to mess up something with the build, just going with the fire weapon. Now going again, Sovereignless Soul, this is what I would choose, especially if it gives you a lot of souls. What I'm going to do in the when I first get my hands on the game is to start with this gift and immediately use it and see how many souls that is. Let's say it gives you 5,000, that's perfect. If it only gives you like 2,000 souls, then yeah, okay, that's a different story. It's still 2,000, that's what I've seen, that's probably like 1 level. It's still better than nothing. But I hope it's a lot more than that. The Rusted Gold Coin gives you better drop rates for a certain amount of certain period of time. It might be useful in the late game where you want to like farm chunks or titanite slabs or titanite shards or twin, whatever. But the way I see it is that you're probably not going to be farming items in the very early part of the game, because in the very beginning of the game, most all the enemies are just going to drop crap weapons, crap armor, and nothing worth farming. I don't remember farming undead hollows in the lower undead berg or in the undead berg or in any of these places. No one dropped anything of interest. The only drop that I could see could be interest, like something you would really want, is for example in the depths, the butcher ladies, they drop the sack. Maybe that's something people would want to farm for, maybe. But if you're farming, nah, I don't know. I don't think this is something I would need. Cracked Red Eye Orb, very interesting to have this item. I have seen in the footage that there is an NPC who does give you a few more. We have not seen how we join a covenant of invaders, similar to the Dark Wraiths and the Brotherhood of Blood, yet. But we have confirmed that there will be an infinite Red Eye Orb. So this Cracked Red Eye Orb will be interesting just if you wanted to troll or twink some low-level guy in the first couple of areas. But once you use it, it's gone again with no real effect, especially that if you lose the fight. If you lost the fight, there goes your Cracked Red Eye Orb and you used it for basically nothing. and the only thing you get after winning an invasion is a couple of souls and an ember. So I could see that maybe if you're fighting a boss in the early start of the game, and then you ran out of embers and you desperately need one from somewhere, this could be it, but you're risking that you're probably going to lose, especially if the host has a white phantom with him or a blue phantom. You're basically just lost it. And the young white branch finally, which lets you blend into the environment, which is basically like Chameleon from Dark Souls 1 and that other spell, I think it was the Silver Pendant or something like that from Dark Souls 2. Sorry, I really despise Dark Souls 2. I'm really sorry. It's a nice game. A lot of problems with it. This is my least played. I don't want to get into that discussion right now. I don't want to bother anybody, especially those who like Dark Souls 2. Again, it's my worst Souls game. It's not a bad game, just the worst Souls game for many reasons, and I'm not going to go back to the past. There's billions of discussions on this on forums. But I don't see particularly any use of this item, especially that you want to move forward. You're not going to like... I'm talking PvE here. You're not going to use this item and then just sit there and wait for an enemy to pass and then use it. Then let's just get out. It's basically a useless item for PvE. For PvP, again, if you're getting invaded, it might be useful for a short bit of time, but unless you're like you're fighting an enemy already, you're in the middle of the battle, and then you get invaded. Obviously, the invader knows where you are, so there's really no point to hide. And the only reason you would want to do this for the invader just to come around, look for you, and then get bored with waiting and then just leave. Again, we don't know how this works. Will it be like when you once you use it, can you move around? Let's say you used it and then you blended in the environment. You turned into a tree, or you turned into a pot of something. What if you roll? Does the spell go off? Because like the spell in Dark Souls 1, which turned you into something to blend in, once you rolled or did an action, you basically popped out of the hidden camouflage thing. So let's say you did that by mistake, and there goes your white branch. So basically, my recommendation from what I've seen is that we're going to start from me. I'm going to start with the Sovereignless Soul because we get souls out of it, and we can use it to upgrade items and to level up. Souls is always good to have. It's not really a bad investment. Did I mention the Black Fire Bombs? Oops. I went right through the Black Fire Bombs. I'm very sorry, guys. The Black Fire Bombs, again, they might be useful for an early boss, as we've seen in Dark Souls 1. Like you can go in with a couple of Black Fire Bombs and kill the Asylum Demon with it. But in the end, if you're a Soul veteran, you're probably gonna just curb stomp the first boss or the second boss really easily. Again, I'm not being elitist here, but I'm just saying it might be a good weapon, good choice for beginners. But from what I've seen, and now with the popularity of the Souls games, I think people are not going to be in that much need of a Black Fire Bomb. At least I didn't see the need to from the footage. So again, I think it's a wasted set of items. So with conclusions, we're gonna go to Sovereignless Soul. Guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. I'm gonna make a couple of more in the coming future. I don't want to spam you all with Dark Souls 3 stuff, especially that we already have a ton of footage, ton of people talking about it. But this is something I really wanted to talk about really quick. I hope you like my videos. There will be more PvP videos from Bloodborne. Made a couple of series like Return to, which is basically going back to areas of the game that people aren't really playing these days. For example, Central Yharnam, Old Yharnam, and Upper Cathedral Ward, which are all up right now on my channel. So please check those out, and we'll see you guys soon. Peace out.